Hey everyone, it's Ryder from Skip. It's Wednesday, March 17th. Quick and important video today. I'm going to talk about the latest EIDL grant progress, also Isabel Guzman's confirmation yesterday and what that means, and some IRS tax changes. The deadline has been pushed. This will directly affect you and how you file. And the Fed made an announcement today that's very important when it comes to interest rates that will affect economic recovery. I will briefly cover that. Thanks as always for subscribing and supporting us, and let's dive right in. I'll start with the good news, then go to the bad news. Number one, IRS said they're going to delay tax filing until mid-May. They announced this morning. Instead of April 15th, the deadline will become May 17th. That's very good news for many of you who wanted to wait and see for a number of reasons. First of all, it's been a messy year with benefits. Many of you still have questions about unemployment. Here's what a Wall Street Journal article said. The tax filing season started later than usual and has been messy as taxpayers deal with the effects of last year's economic disruptions and late changes to tax law. There have been a number of tax changes, so this gives people another month to figure their stuff out. Notably, the coronavirus relief package that Biden signed into law last week retroactively changed the tax rules for unemployment benefits received in 2020, making the first $10,200 exempt from taxation for households making under $150,000. Of course, all of these changes are crazy, and many of you are dealing with this as well with SBA changes. The SBA changes their mind every couple weeks. And some of you have already filed your taxes for a few different reasons. Some, depending on your income threshold, you may have thought it advantageous to file your 2020 taxes so it could be reflected on this latest stimulus check. Again, I know it's frustrating with the goalposts moving, but overall the delay is good news. Last week's late change in the tax law compounded difficulties facing tax preparers, taxpayers, and the IRS, which is still working through a backlog of 2019 tax returns. The government has received 18% fewer tax returns through early March this year compared with last year. The IRS hasn't offered guidance for people who already filed their tax returns, especially with these unemployment changes. So far, their only advice is to not send in amended returns yet, so hopefully there'll be more guidance there on if you already filed, what you can do. Some, however, think the 30 days extension isn't enough, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed even further. One accountant from West Virginia said this: 30 days is not enough time for the problems in the system to be resolved. If you think about it, software has to be updated. All the main software programs, accountants have to update. And tax season is already busy enough. It's mid-April. We basically have 2 months now to play by the new rules. Not a lot of time, so I would not be surprised if they change it again. The IRS already has a lot of work on their plate, sending out these new stimulus checks, and then, of course, reviewing the backlog from 2019, then starting to review 2020 tax returns. So it's a lot going on, but that's the positive IRS news. Meanwhile, I just want to mention this for those of you with families or kids. In the new stimulus package, and it hadn't been talked about a lot, the U.S. is giving $10 billion for schools for COVID-19 testing. So for many of you thinking about reopening schools, getting back to schools, there is a lot of funding specifically for testing. And they'll also help teachers get more confidence as well, eliminate a lot of that fear by providing adequate testing. Let me switch to the market news. Because we were waiting for this, the Fed announced today they are holding steady interest rates. They've been talking for a few days. Today was the day they were going to make a decision. They're going to hold steady interest rates and bond purchases, and many officials expect these rates to stay near zero through 2023. Here's one of the quotes: following a moderation in the pace of recovery, indicators of economic activity and employment have turned up recently, although the sectors most adversely affected by the pandemic remain weak. So this is good news, and of course the stock market has responded positively today. Many stocks are up, tech stocks are up. So that's the good news. Now let's switch gears to SBA land and talk about maybe some of the mixed news when it comes to EIDL grants. As I reported yesterday, Isabel Guzman was confirmed in the Senate. She's going to be taking over, and it's positive news because, number one, she's seen as very friendly towards small businesses. I believe she will do as much as she can to help enhance the EIDL program. And perhaps this means getting rid of the EIDL loan limits, the $150K cap. Other senators, such as Senator Rosen from Nevada, have called for this. Maybe Isabel Guzman would be open to this as well. And I hope she will also be supportive of the EIDL grant. So I hope she makes these changes and speeds things up because the progress news is not good. Here's the poll we put up this morning, over 1,000 votes. 98% of you are still waiting for a targeted EIDL grant approval. This is just nuts. It's almost been 3 months since $40 billion was set aside to folks And, you know, it could be a sampling error. You know, everyone who's gotten the full 10K is pieced out and they don't care about videos anymore, but I highly doubt it. And based on what we know, the data on our app and everything else, there is virtually no process being made. So the numbers show 1% of you have said the money's in your bank account, and 1% of you have said you're approved on your SBA dashboard, but maybe haven't gotten the money yet in your bank account. Regardless, the progress is terrible, and I just can't believe it, especially when you look again at the PPP program and see that around $200 billion has been distributed. That has its own problems, but why can't this money get out to folks? It's a big question mark. I've emailed the SBA a few times. We get the standard responses, a lot of the same responses you get as well, trying to find out what's going on. And many of you remember S4227 from last summer. This was a push by several senators. We had about 8 co-sponsors saying that everyone deserves the full $10,000 EIDL grants. If you applied and you were eligible, you should get the full $10,000 because that was the intent of the CARES Act. That's what was in the law. This had momentum. We wrote thousands of letters to senators to say, support this bill, support this bill. It gained co-sponsors but never really went anywhere. But Senator Jackie Rosen made a plea yesterday in the Senate when approving Isabel Guzman, saying she's going to continue to fight for this effort. So here's the call to action. If you can take a minute today, if you believe in what we're doing and you want to help us gain momentum, we are going to write a letter to senators with the support of the hundreds of thousands of folks that are using our app and tracking EIDL loans to basically say, no progress is being made. We need major changes to this program. If you want to support our effort, the best thing you can do is, of course, subscribe to our channel and also share our free app. I will leave a link right in the description, or you can just share helloskip.com/invite. It's the best way to invite folks, and if you share on Facebook, here's how it will look. Basically telling others to track your EIDL progress, help the Skip mission, and it will help you as well. You know, anything we can do to basically get attention to this. The good news is senators do have a lot of power here. They just passed a $1.9 trillion package. They just confirmed Isabel Guzman. I think we can get momentum here. They know businesses are still struggling. I think we can continue to push and get momentum here. So if you have a minute, feel free to share and tell others about Skip. You can also share directly from our app as well. Just wanted to make that quick PSA. Thank you in advance. Finally, as we wrap for today, I talked about this yesterday, but EIDL loan payments are deferred an entire year. In case you missed that news, I want to end on a positive note. That's great news. We also picked 12 winners last night. If you didn't watch that video, we've emailed you. We're going to pick more winners next week to give $100 grants to. As always, thank you so much for supporting us, subscribing, and sharing what we're doing. Stay well, stay healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow.